Good morning. It is day 2 of NASA Social, and actually last night I stayed up late, so I'm kind of tired because SpaceX launched a rocket, so I got to see my first rocket launch. It was from a distance, but it was really cool because I was only like 5 minutes away from my hotel room. So very excited about that, and also very excited for all of the events that we have going on today. We are hoping to get a little bit closer to the Artemis I rocket today, so fingers crossed that can happen. We were supposed to yesterday, but then there was lightning. I'll leave an article down below that talks about the lightning strikes that actually hit in the area next to the rocket. So right now they're saying everything is still a go for launch on Monday, so very excited to see what is in store for today. Our day started out with a discussion with the new chief scientist, Dr. Catherine Calvin, as she discussed why we are going to the moon and why it is so important for the humans here on Earth. I will let you hear it directly from her. Here it is.
We're going to the moon because we want to develop and test new technologies. So everything NASA does, we try to think about how could it benefit people here on Earth, and can we take that technology and use it for an application here. And that's something that's really important to me. We're also going to be inspiring the next generation of scientists, and I hope you all will help us with that. So if you can see it, you can dream it, you can be it. And so we really want to make sure that the Artemis generation sees the opportunities for them in science and engineering.
Next, we headed to the AB camera facility, and we got to see the launch pad what SpaceX uses, which is 39A, but we also got to see launch pad 39B, and it was already housed with the rocket, yes, Artemis I. We are so incredibly excited for the fact that we got to get so up close to this massive rocket. We actually drove right next to it. We weren't allowed to stop, which is such a bummer, but even from this view, it is so incredible to see this vehicle. The bottom portion of this rocket is composed of the Space Launch System rocket. This is the most powerful rocket in the world. At a height of 322 feet, it's going to have 8.8 million pounds of thrust at liftoff, which is absolutely incredible. The top of the rocket contains the Orion spacecraft, and that is where the crew will live during future trips to the moon. We are at the crawler. This is crawler number 2. This is the vehicle that actually took Artemis I from the VAB that I showed you guys in yesterday's video and took it out to the launch pad. This vehicle is staying here. It's parked just in case something were to happen and the vehicle would have to go back in the VAB. But today it's just out here sitting around for us to check out. The crawler is an incredibly unique vehicle. It has been taking rockets and spacecrafts to the launch pad for more than 50 years. It was actually built in 1965, and it weighs approximately 6.6 million pounds. Now, it is able to transport a load of 18 million pounds, and it goes a whopping 1 mile per hour at its max speed. While carrying the Artemis I rocket, it maxed out at 0.82 miles per hour. So this is definitely not the most fun vehicle to drive. It's very slow, it's very boring. I talked to several people who actually have been on it or driven it themselves, and they say it's not the most entertaining thing to do, but it is quite the experience, and we are grateful to have instrumentation like this to get these vehicles to where they need to go. After checking out the crawler and all it had to offer, we went to the Neil Armstrong Operations and Checkout Building. This is where astronauts actually train. We were able to see a little bit of the facility as well as a model of Orion before we got the chance to meet with some actual astronauts. They showed us a little bit about the new Artemis mission spacesuits that they're going to be wearing in the vehicle as they go up, all the redundancies that are in these suits. And I did want to share what astronaut Randy Bresnik said was his favorite part of one of the suits that he has worn on his way to space.
And the first suit that I ever put on was the grandfather or father to the suit, or could have been mother to the suit. And they got these spots where you can have mirrors on your wrists, and those are supposed to be able to look at your equipment and stuff. You know, some astronauts probably do themselves, but what I thought was the coolest part of that was when I was sitting on the launch pad 39 Alpha in Atlantis, which is right over here next door. And I'm sitting next to Lee Melton, and he'd already flown before. And he says, hey, those solids light off. You take that mirror and hold it up to the window because you're able to look out the window and see the exhaust bubble flame change. That's when I appreciated that mirror. I was like, that's cool.
We then had the opportunity to check out some of the gear that the astronauts will actually use on this. So this is the extra oxygen tanks, the gloves that they're going to wear, and the cooling system that they are going to use in order to keep the astronauts cool as they are up in space. They aren't able to sweat and do the normal human processes that we do here on Earth, so these suits will actually keep them nice and cool. The last stop of the day was spending a little time exploring the Kennedy Space Center visitor complex, and then of course hitting up that gift shop because we hadn't had a chance to do that yet. But we didn't spend a lot of time there because we have an early wake-up call. We have to be at the Kennedy Space Center at 2 in the morning to watch the launch of Artemis I. We will see you there. The countdown is going. Let's go, Artemis.